Alright, my amazing artists, today you're going to draw the turtle for our pattern sea turtle. So we're going to draw the body and you are going to be drawing all of the different patterns. Each hexagon is going to get a different pattern. But to begin, you're going to get a stencil that looks like a diamond. You're going to place it roughly in the middle. Don't place it too high. You won't have room for your head, and don't place it too low. You won't have room for like your lower legs. So we're going to first come around. And once you have your diamond shape, we're going to add the edge of the turtle shell. So all we're going to do is make a frown. Now this frown line, you want to make sure your eraser tip can fit inside of it, or the tip of your finger. Don't make them super itty bitty. They're not going to look like they belong, and they'll be hard to color in. So we're just going to make these half circles or frown lines all the way around to give it more of that turtle shell look. And if one is a little smaller than the other, that's okay. It's not going to be a perfect measurement. Alright, now that that's complete, we're going to get another stencil to create the hexagon pattern in the turtle shell. This is probably the most tricky part of the shell. So we're going to take that hexagon, we're going to slide it up so that this straight line matches both of these lines, and it makes kind of almost a little triangle space. You're going to trace, and then slide it down. We're going to be just making roughly a straight line of hexagons going down the middle of our turtle's back. As you get down to the bottom, depending on how straight you went down, you might have a full one, you might have more of a half. Some of you might get a full 4 and have a half of a fifth. So like kind of like how I did here. And then after we've got this part here, we're going to take and we're going to match this in this little point here, and we're going to draw the top and then that side and the bottom that we see. And we're going to keep doing that and drawing the little parts of the hexagon that we see and fitting that little point into that extra point to kind of fill up and give this pattern in the turtle shell. Again, depending on where your line is exactly placed, these might be more off and where you see only a part of it. Some of it you might see a little bit more. And there we have it. There's our turtle's shell. Now let's get the turtle body. So we're going to first start out with our head. We're going to make a big U shape. Now this U shape, you want to make sure you make it wide enough to fit like 3 to 4 fingers inside. Otherwise his head's going to look itty bitty. Not going to look like it belongs to his body. Next is going to be his front arm. So we're going to draw 2 diagonal lines going up towards the corners of our paper, but not reaching the corners. Now, like if you were drawing a capital letter A or a letter V, I'm going to make that edge. Okay, probably fit a couple fingers in between there, because if it's too skinny, your arm's going to look really, really skinny, and not that it belongs to his body. Now we're going to be making a wavy line, but what I don't want to see is I don't want to see a wavy line like this or a zigzag line. Alright, we want to make a wavy line, but this wavy line is going to be kind of like a backwards wavy line. We're going to draw it with frowns instead of smiles, and this is going to go all the way down to here. So you can see we still have 2 fingers that can fit inside. And then we got his front. Now we're going to do his 2 back legs. I'm going to draw 2 lines that again are about roughly 2 fingers, 2 or 3 fingers apart, and then I'm going to make that frown line for our wavy line again. And do the same thing on the other side. And then you can give a little V here for a tail. So that's his basic body outline. We can add his eyes. We're going to just make 2 like C's or backwards letter C's. Make sure they look big enough. You don't want to put them too small. Then they look too tiny on his face. Now each hexagon is going to get a different pattern. This is going to be kind of a Zentangled look to his shell. Now here, for example, if I made 2 sets of lines that are next to each other that are going to create thick, bold lines, I'm not going to color them in. So like here, like this is what those lines, I'll color them in with my marker. Now, this pattern I can't repeat, but I can change it a bit. So I can use that same idea, but add extra details that make it different. So here I added a dashed line, and even take it a little bit further, I'm just going to take and make some straight horizontal lines. And you can see those patterns are now similar, but they're different. The only parts that can be the same are these really tiny little pieces here. So like these here are symmetrical, so I'm going to make them the same. And then like again, you don't need to color that in, but you can. But I've got another little piece down here. I could make those the same because they are really, really tiny pieces. But otherwise, you want to make your patterns, each one a different pattern. And keep them simple. You don't want to make them too crazy. Otherwise, you will be drawing patterns forever, and tracing will take forever. Now a pattern is something that repeats over and over. So if you put just a shape in the middle, so say you draw a circle, that is not a pattern. That is just a shape or a symbol there. But if I take it and I repeat it, then it becomes a pattern. Okay, and each one is a little different, and you can borrow ideas from my turtles that I have up on the screen, and that is how we're going to draw our basic turtle for our sea animal creature project.